and welcome to this week's edition of Health Watch. Today we're talking about a viral disease that was first discovered in Nigeria in 1978, and there was an outbreak in 2017. In fact, according to research, it was the largest outbreak in West Africa. We're talking about monkeypox, which is also known as mpox. Today we'll be looking at how this disease can be transmitted, what are the preventive measures, and of course how to manage this viral disease. And our guest today is someone that you would love to meet. Is an interesting person that you would love to meet because he is a pathologist and will be telling us a whole lot that we need to know about mpox. My name is Nkem or Kibe. I'm a regular host on Health Watch. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, you'll meet my guest. Don't go anywhere. Health Watch continues in a moment. Stay with us. Alright, if you're just joining us, the program is Health Watch, reaching you from your number one station, NTA Lagos Channel 10, the station for excellence. And you know how we do it on this program? We ensure that we bring in the news and everything you need to know about the health sector. And of course, if there are ailments, if there are diseases that you need to know about, of course, this program is right here to tell you. Alright, today we are talking about mpox, which is also known as monkeypox. Our guest today is the former chief medical examiner of Lagos State. He's also the former VC of LASU. He's also the former provost of Lagos State College of Medicine. I'm talking about the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research and the person of Professor John Oladapo Obafunwa. You're welcome to Health Watch.
Thank you, ma'am. Nice to have me.
Thank you so much for talking to us and agreeing to come on this program despite your busy schedule. Okay, so talking about monkeypox, what is monkeypox?
Monkeypox came about because of an observation made in a research facility in East Africa, looking in the course of studying some monkeys. They discovered that they had acquired a particular type of rash, which was affecting them, and that was how they came by the name monkeypox. But of course, we've since had this in other parts, apart from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Benin Republic, Nigeria, Cameroon, South Africa, Egypt, and because of the mobility by way of people moving from one part of the world to another, it's easily understood why you have it also in the industrialized society. But in terms of the origin, dating back to 1958, it was because it was observed first in a set of monkeys being used for research purposes.
So when we talk about transmission mode, how is it being transmitted? Because you know when you mention monkeypox, what comes to everybody's mind is, oh, We don't have monkeys in my area, we don't have monkeys in my community, so people just feel, oh, I'm protected. It's not my business. So, what's the transmission mode?
Well, if you come in contact with an infected animal, you are likely going to be infected by that virus. If you come in contact with an infected individual, again, by way of contact through the skin, you can also pick this up. Body fluids from that infected individual or aerosol particles through inhalation, you can also acquire the virus. Because we are talking about body fluids, it could be contacted by way of sexual intercourse. And that's why it's said that if, you've, if you've been diagnosed with that condition, you want to stay away from sexual partners because you could, in the course of that, transmit the disease.
Okay, talking about diagnosis, let's talk about diagnosis and what's the window period. For example, we all know that chickenpox come as a fever and it might not just present itself immediately with you seeing the bumps and all of that. So what's the window period and how can it be diagnosed?
The manifestation of the condition after the exposure could be as little as about a week or a little after that. But the presenting symptoms would include things like fever, muscle pain, rashes. These rashes will look like blisters and they will grow. They're much larger than what you will see in smallpox, and they can affect the entire body. Quite often, people will demonstrate this on the extremities. You can also have enlargement of lymph nodes. These are regional nodes in the body. But apart from this, you can also have a systemic infection where it goes into the lungs. You can have a pneumonia, for example. You can have a septicemia, which is an overwhelming infection within the blood system. Generally, it's supposed to be self-limiting, but when you have that exposure, you are required to go to the hospital. And the moment you see any rash, such a rash should be monitored. And where that suspicion index is high, samples of blood, samples from the blisters, or serous fluids are sent to the laboratory for diagnosis. Again, where that suspicion index is high, the vaccines that have been developed can be part of the adjuvant therapy for that particular condition, waiting for the laboratory diagnosis. I can tell you that NIMR has gone to the extent of being able to do a lot of things with monkeypox in-house that would not even require, ideally, purchasing diagnostic kits from overseas. Like I said, it's largely self-limiting, and you expect that within 2 or 3 weeks, everything will start dying down. it's going to be more of supportive treatment where you have an effective process in the lungs. If it's bacterial in nature, the patient might be able to respond to antibiotic therapy.
For a state like Lagos State with a large population of over 25 million, the question would be, what is the difference between monkeypox, COVID-19, or Ebola? And that's because each time there's an outbreak of a viral disease, there's usually this fear of, oh, it doesn't have a treatment, it doesn't have a cure. So what's the difference between monkeypox and these two diseases?
The COVID-19 was more of an infection that, yes, it was affecting the different organs in the body, but also impacting a lot on the respiratory system. And that was why we had this problem of poor oxygenation. Of course, because of the systemic nature, you, you had things like fever, you headache, diarrhea. It's so easy to acquire that condition without even knowing that the person that you are having contact with has actually gone through, is actually harboring that infection. After all, with monkeypox, okay, if you see the rashes and whatever, you know that this person, you need to have some kind of physical barrier. With Ebola, and thank God Lagos State was able to
Contain it.
contain it. With Ebola, again, the nature of the virus is slightly different. You need a lot of physical barrier nursing. It's systemic in a way. It's largely a viral hemorrhagic fever. Unlike monkeypox, which is not. But I must admit that Lagos State is largely on top of what is happening.
So one of the things that vaccines, one of the things that it does for us is to help prevent, the extent to which that disease could affect the person. So what are the effective and correct treatment vaccines for monkeypox? I know that this is the area where NIMR should be focused on.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, it's a self-limiting disease. Occasionally, you might end up with a fatality. Vaccine production has helped to limit the course of the infection. And apart from using it to try to prevent the infection itself, it could also be employed when the individual has already acquired the disease. Has NIMR produced any vaccine in that direction at this point in time? No. But I'll tell you this. I had a meeting with BioVaccine, MPP, this is another external agency that are here with us, talking about how NIMR can be involved in the transfer of technology as it relates to mRNA, that's messenger RNA, which was a technology that was used for the development of vaccines in the case of COVID-19. It has the ability of being able to generate the vaccine within a short time, and it has high specificity, and it's able to assist with regards to that infection, which was what they used in COVID. And because of the recognition of the fact that NIMR has not just the personnel, but also the physical structure to produce this vaccine, they have decided to collaborate with us. In fact, they are spending the next 36 hours in our NIMR premises going through our facilities. And I'm sure by the time, because we also have a vaccine unit that's being developed currently in NIMR, and by the time we have all that, we should be able to come up with the production of vaccines.
With the current situation in Lagos regarding the mpox outbreak, what are the measures to be taken to control it?
It said that if you have any reason to suspect that you have the condition, make haste and see your doctor. Go to the hospital. Where you have the identified rashes, you want to sequester the patient, you want to put in place physical barrier nursing of that condition. And I know that is going on. There's a lot of education that is going on within the, the various local governments.
So we've been speaking with the Director General of Nigeria Institute of Medical Research in the person of Professor John Oladapo Obafomo. Thank you so much for coming on the program. We still have a whole lot to talk about as regards the activities of NIMR. So you'll be coming on the show again very soon. I'm sure that you oblige us when we invite you.
I have no choice. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving on, we're going on the streets now to find out what do you know about monkeypox. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
The monkeypox is pox, similar to chicken pox, like it generated from animal and it's from outside countries.
Okay, I know it's a viral infection. I've seen pictures online. I've heard people talk about it, that it's spreading very fast. It's a communicable disease.
I really haven't heard anything about monkeypox, but I know people with rashes.
I heard it's a rare and infectious disease that is caused by a virus and is mostly contagious by the skin.
If you're just joining us, the program is still Health Watch, and our focus today is on monkeypox. I have another guest in the house, also from the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research. He is a molecular virologist and innovator in the person of Dr. Joseph Shaivo. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, a whole lot has been said about monkeypox. We were able to talk to the DG of NIMR, and he mentioned a whole lot about what NIMR is doing. What is the diagnosis like for monkeypox?
Okay, thank you. There are different techniques that are used for diagnosis of infections, which does not exclude mpox. We have techniques such as polymerase chain reaction, which is commonly called PCR, which could be conventional or real-time. We have antigen-based testing. We have antibody-based testing. We have isothermal amplification-based, which are newer innovations. And then we have sequencing, if you want to go into characterization to know the actual strains and the family, the family of the viral or the pathogen that is circulating within a particular environment, and also the transmission pattern.
You know, for us in NCA, because we are actually reaching out to a lot of people at the grassroots level, and of course they are asking how do we prevent ourselves from getting infected with this disease, knowing that we just came out from COVID-19 just a few years back, and everybody's like, why mpox again? Can we at least breathe? You know, so what would you say are the preventive measures?
Well, usually, clean environment is a high preventive measure to many pathogens of public health importance. So we will advise people to clean their environment, limit access to animals, and then body contact, all the, because one of the major issues about mpox, the report works that have been done as reported a higher prevalence amongst people that engage in or these other kinds of sex. As much as possible, avoid them. Men sleeping with men and what have you, because mpox has been seen to be transmitted faster among this group of individuals. And then body contact, especially when you see somebody that have rashes, because one of the clearest evidence of mpox are body rashes. Apart from that, it's difficult for you to know whether somebody is down. So when you see somebody that has body rashes, as far as much as possible, you limit body contact with such individual. Wash hands, and then I think these basic things are enough to. One thing, there shouldn't be too much fear about mpox in comparison to COVID and the other ones is, mpox is a DNA virus. The rate of mutation is less compared to RNA viruses. And that is why in the course of COVID, you discover that we're having many strains, mutations, because the RNA viruses, but DNA viruses mutate less than RNA viruses. But in cases where there are issues, when you notice any rash, you should consult your hospital so that they can manage it effectively.
So I hear that you're part of the Lagos team, or you work with the Lagos team, and Lagos State, you agree with me, they're always on top of their game when it comes to any outbreak. And so what is happening right now? What's the current situation as regards this outbreak?
Well, with respect to Lagos State, I was nominated by my Director General to represent Nigerian Institute of Medical Research for a mini symposium that was organized by the Commissioner of Health, which was geared towards understanding the status of mpox and also the vaccine that were being prompted to be brought to Nigeria, so that Lagos State can take decisive decisions on way to curtail to start the surveillance. So they had a stakeholders meeting, and as DJ has said, Lagos State is on top of a lot of any infection. They've triggered their surveillance system. Their emergency operation centers have been triggered to be able to attend to any cases of mpox promptly, and they also triggered their collaboration with the Port Health Authority, Port Health, the facility to be able to screen anyone that is suspected of that as they are arriving into the country.
What's your advice to the public? I think it's always good news when you know that the government is doing their bit, and I'm sure.
Okay. Before I say that, in NIMR here, we do a lot of things. We have potentials for a lot of things. Because of the cost of the reagents for diagnosis, and we have capacity to develop our diagnostics within NIMR, including which when we had the outbreak in 2022, the cost of this, if we were to depend our research on buying, we can't afford it. But because of the capacity that we have built over time, we have the capacity to be able to do this in-house. And this is a product of NIMR, which we use for routine surveillance of mpox, year in, year out, daily, as many samples that we get that we feel has some symptoms similar to mpox, we screen them off it. And there are many platforms like that we do. And also progress it to sequencing to be able to characterize, to know exactly the strains that are circulating. And we'll be able to inform the public and the ministry through the Director General on ways and how to effectively manage the situation. Well, my final advice is there is a need to increase surveillance of mpox, because as we are talking now, we don't really know the drivers of mpox as far as reservoirs in Nigeria. We need to increase surveillance. We need to empower more laboratories that are PCR compliant. to do screening down to the grassroots, to communities, so that we can know the true state of mpox and the circulating clades in Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph.
You are welcome.
for coming
Thank
on
you.
the program.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's where we draw the curtains on this week's edition of Health Watch. Remember, I usually say health conscious people live longer. So you see anything, you feel sick, you see any kind of rash, ensure you see your doctor. You want to send a mail, you want to send questions, comments, and of course you want to sponsor this program, please send a text alone to 07060865487 or send an email to okibinkem@gmail.com. Thank you so much for being part of this week's edition of Health Watch. My name is Nkem Okibi. See you next week, same time, same station.